This is the Septuagenarian Explorer. It's a little noisy today because I'm on one of the main roads through the island, because today we are going to do an historic tour of Roaches Hill, Crocus Hill area. This is one of the oldest settled areas of Anguilla. At pretty much the entrance to Roaches Hill, we have the oldest surviving church on Anguilla. This was dedicated in 1830, and it has obviously been kept up since then and been in pretty much continuous use during that time. This is the Ebenezer Methodist Church. You can see they still have church services here. It's a lovely building. We'll take a little bit of a walk around it. Friendly greeting. And there you see, dedicated in 1830. The church, at some point much more recently, built an associated preschool. And here we have a bell. Let's see what it says about this bell. It is the Reverend John Hodge Memorial. So this was for one of the reverends of the church. Let's see what this says. Site of the first Methodist building in Anguilla, circa 1815, by the Reverend John Hodge. Very nice. So evidently something happened to that building, and they later built this church here. So it looks like a really nice preschool situation. Steps have a saying on them. See, it's a fairly busy road. So there is going to be a little bit of street noise in this video because of doing a historic tour. And this is the other side of the building. I'm assuming this is like a parking lot for Sunday services. It's kind of interesting that this particular church does not seem to have a graveyard associated with it. Not sure what that is. Looks like some sort of food growing operation. All right, so that is the beginning of our tour at the historic Ebenezer Methodist Church. And now we'll head out and walk up the street to the next place on our historic tour. Roaches Hill seems to have been named for a man named Roach. There really isn't a lot on it, but evidently he owned some property in this area when the island was originally settled by Europeans. And so that is where the name comes from. Hopefully I will not have issues. And you see, we're going to see a lot of beautiful flowering bushes in this area. This is just a beginning hint of it as we move along. It's very, very pretty area. Lovely building there. And if you want to stay in Roaches Hill, there's the Central Guest House, which looks like it's been here quite a long time. And here is another one of our beautiful areas of flowering plants. Just lovely. See the tree back there. Very beautiful area. Flowers, flowering bushes everywhere. Okay, we will continue up the street here. Kind of a cool iron gate. More lovely vines. And now we come across the street. I'm going to try and stay on this side because there's nowhere to walk really over there. This is one of the original walls that was built probably in the 1700s. But possibly earlier. And you can see all of the beautiful flowering plants growing along. Hopefully you can see. I know that I'm going on the light is in the wrong direction. Maybe I will, nobody's coming, I will take a little brief walk over here so you can see how lovely it is. Woo! Are coming. A lot of beautiful different plants growing along this wall. And let me do a close-up of the wall. It's been repaired over the years, but again, one of the original walls when this area was probably a plantation. I imagine it was a sugarcane plantation, but don't know for sure. Beautiful bougainvillea bush here. And we can peek through there and see one of the original houses that was built in this area. I'm not sure how old this one is, but that is the original style of house in Anguilla. Oh, get up out of the way. So they were originally built out of wood with a tin roof, but those turned out to not be too sturdy during hurricanes, and now pretty much everything is made out of cement block. in here a little bit. Okay, and this is another one of the original houses. Obviously fallen into disrepair. And that is a cistern. Let's see, there's a little path here, so I think I will walk along it and see what's back here. This looks like it was probably used for a few hundred years. So that would be the cistern. Again, Anguilla does not have any good sources of water, mostly relies on rainwater for its water. Some of the caverns do have freshwater ponds in them, pools within them. And in the distant past, they would have been used as water sources when there was not sufficient rain. Oh, these vines are so pretty. I'm quite a ways off of the road now. You can see this area is just completely overgrown, but it's pretty and it's overgrown. Oh, somebody has a chicken ranch, it looks like, over there. I shouldn't say ranch. They have chickens. And then the area, there's a path that extends. I'm not really dressed for exploring paths today. So I will just turn around and head back. Let's get some nice close-ups of these pretty flowers. Very lovely. Okay. And now we will cross the street. And we will go to what is called the warden's house. Get a good look at it. This was where, for a time anyway, the warden for the prison lived. And again, this would be, I believe, in the 1700s and forward. Let's go this way. See if I can beat the car to the entrance. This probably was an original wall that they cemented over. You can see across the street, that wall that I showed you initially continues. Some beautiful trees here. One of my favorite trees is the flamboyant tree. It has those beautiful red flowers on it. Okay. Now we will turn around and, okay, I'm gonna have to pause, we'll come back. I had to stop the phone for a bit because it was getting overheated. So, this was originally an 18th century plantation, and This was where the owner of the plantation would have lived, and I guess when plantation life, it was Anguilla is just not suited to plantation crops, that it became where the warden of the prison lived. And it's talking here about this house and the roof line, the yellow house there. So it is probable, I don't know positively, that that is where the enslaved workers lived in that area. And then the plantation owner lived in this large, comfortable looking house. At some point in the recent past, this area was added on to it, and this was a restaurant that was very popular, but it has since been, it's no longer a restaurant. So we'll look again, get another view of the plantation house from this angle. And now we will walk briskly around the corner to try and avoid the traffic. And as we go, we can get another view of the side of the house. And again, this is probably the original wall, and in order to preserve it, they cemented it over. As you can see, across the street, the original wall is kind of falling apart in places. Okay, we'll go back down this area. And let's see if we can go in here and get a close-up view of some of the outbuildings. Back of the building. Okay, this was probably for storing produce, canned goods, potatoes, things like that. And then this, again, the curved structure would be the cistern. And then that building appears to be part of the part that was adapted for the restaurant over there. Look up closely at the mortar. There are designs carved into the mortar around the rock. It's very interesting. I don't think I've seen that before, at least I haven't noticed it. I wonder if this is more recent, a reapplication of the mortar, and then somebody drew designs in it, or if it's original. Very interesting. If anyone knows, please write in the comments and let me know further. It's quite interesting. I feel like that is relatively new, because when you come over here, there's nothing carved into this mortar, and this is definitely an older building. Not clear what this particular building would have been for. Maybe, I don't know. I don't really want to go up the stairs. I'm not sure how safe those are. It's very old. Okay. So, anyone who's interested in the history of Anguilla, or just history in general, this is a very interesting historic walk we're on, and we're not done yet. We have more more places to go and see. This is at the back of the property, and this is a guinep tree. They have little crispy green fruits. They're about size of a gumball. Much smaller than a golf ball. And this maybe was planted originally in the 18th century. Don't know. But it's definitely a massive tree. If I can bring it all into focus here a little bit. There you go. Huge tree. Guineps are one of my son's favorite fruits. So, in season, which was not too long ago, there were guineps all over this tree. But now it looks like there are not too many. I think there's a few. You probably can't get them green on green, but there's a few way up high. Okay, I'm going to pause. Well, no, I think we'll try it. I don't want to overheat the phone. But now we're going to go up this hill, which is away from the main road and going alongside of the property, the plantation property. And here we have a very normal sight in Anguilla of goats. Goats are frequently used to clean the property. You hire a bunch of goats and they chew down all the grasses, and so you don't need to use a weed whacker. So, I'm not sure how usual white goats are, but there we have a couple doing their thing. And we will continue up the hill here. If I were dressed differently, I might take a side trip and see where this goes, but not today, maybe another day. And this is another one of the traditional houses that again doesn't stand up well to hurricanes, but this is how the houses were originally built. Very large truck is trying to come up here. I'm going to put this on pause. Well, that truck somehow managed to squeak around the corner and between the tree and the buildings to come up this road. I'm really kind of surprised it was able to make it. So back to this house again. They said these didn't hold up well to hurricanes, and so they were replaced with cinder block buildings that are much sturdier. See the foundation blocks of the limestone, Anguilla limestone. Oh, brave and daring, you could go into the cellar, which I am not. Not today, anyway. And here is a very old building behind it. That was probably, again, for food, keeping food fresh and cool in the hotter weather. Let me see if we can get an angle on it over here. A little hard to see in this light. Okay, I'm going to pause as I go up the hill past the truck. See how high up we are. You can get kind of an overview of the island. We are near the North Atlantic coast, but if you look over there, see if I can pull it in, you can see the south coast over there. Pretty cool. Okay, we are getting near the top, and I believe at this point we have gone from Roaches Hill to Crocus Hill, or at least at the very top of the road would be Crocus Hill. And Crocus Hill is the highest point on the island. Nice wooded area over here. Don't see any paths into this wooded area. There is a side road here. Again, I'm not going to explore these today, but this looks like it goes to some homes. Oh, and you can see, hopefully, got it close enough, you can see St. Martin over there in the distance. Okay, continuing up this road. And as we approach the top of the Crocus Hill and the main east-west road, we begin to see lots of housing and villas, etc. So this is a very popular place for people to live or to rent out to tourists. We have a little ways to go before we get to the east-west road. But now we are heading north towards Crocus Bay. Not sure if we'll be able to have a view of Crocus Bay or not from up here. We will see. Okay, I'm going to pause the phone for a bit to let it cool, And then when we get to the top, I'll turn it back on. Well, I am at the top of the hill. I crossed the east-west road, and yes, there is a very lovely view of Crocus Bay out there. And in the distance, some of the smaller islands that are connected to Anguilla. So houses that are on this side of the island have some of the best views of the Atlantic Ocean on the island. Another pretty view out to sea. You can see the ocean wrapping around the point and all of the villas that you can stay at. And now we are at the courthouse jail, the courthouse above and then the jail below, where the warden, whose house we looked at, would have worked. This is where he would have come during the day, dealt with any legal issues. The lower portion is original. The upper portion has been repaired, and it's going to be turned into a museum, historic museum for Anguillan history. Not sure when that will be. Go up a little closer. And we'll turn this way, and you can see that the courthouse held a commanding view of Crocus Bay, and there are the cannons that would have been protecting from invaders, maybe pirates. Let's go see what's on this historic marker. Okay, so the courthouse was built around 1750. Also housed treasury, customs, post office. It was the original one. The upper portion was destroyed by Hurricane Alice in 1955. And then it was under repair at some point after that. Get a close-up of one of the cannons here. Pretty good size. And again, we have a nice view out across Crocus Bay to the Atlantic. Okay, so I'm going to pause there. I'm going to continue down this hill, and then I turn right and go down down the main road, and that will intersect again with the warden's house area. And so you can do a nice loop, nice historic loop from Roaches Hill to Crocus Hill. Close up of my favorite flowering tree, the flamboyant. So walking down the hill, I see this very old cistern, probably dating back to the 18th century. And apparently there was a house there at one time, but now it's just the cistern remaining. Okay, I'm back to the main road from Crocus Hill to Roaches Hill and back to the valley. And you can see that the road that goes past Ebenezer Methodist Church is named for the original Reverend John Hodge Road. And then if you go to the left, you take a steep road downhill, and that takes you straight to Crocus Bay. I'm going back down the hill now, and I just came across this. I think this might have been one of the original ovens where the Johnny cakes were made. Here's another little church or chapel with the cistern along the side. I don't know how old this one is. See if there's any signage, any indication on it. It's a cute little one. Okay, so we're continuing back down the Reverend John Hodge Road and heading back towards the warden's house. It's a really cute little area to do a historic walk. And at some points, when you were up on the main east-west road, the top of Crocus Hill, you can see both the south side of the Anguilla Channel and the north side of the Atlantic Ocean. So, well worth a little walk. Just going to leave this on in case I see any more interesting historical things. We're almost back to the warden's house. This looks like it's a pretty old place. The original kind of structure. This is a more modern cistern, rectangular block there. Looks like there used to be one of the original houses there, and they replaced it with this more modern one behind it. But it looks like this also was original wall that they had. And here's another house that has seen better days. There's the entrance. I tell you, as an archaeologist, which is my master's degree in archaeology, my doctorate is in biological anthropology, things like this are very enticing. I am not appropriately dressed, but there is an entrance. There's a doorway here into what used to be the interior. So, yes. Archaeologists love to do explorations of things like that. And over here, it looks like the community center is getting some new signage. It's nice. The Herschel Gums Community Center, Community Support Center. Very nice. And we're pretty much back. See the old wall here, overgrown with the ivy. Very beautiful. I like that dense foliage and my favorite tree. Very pretty. And we are back at the warden's house. I'm going to quickly get out of the road so I don't get run over. And we'll work our way around the corner. To where I parked under the guinep tree. And you can see perhaps my concern about that huge truck that was trying to go through this very narrow patch of road right there because of where the other guinep tree comes out quite close to the road, but it made it. I was surprised, but it did make it. So that concludes this tour of the historic sites in Roaches Hill, Crocus Hill area of Anguilla. And I hope you will join me next time for another adventure.